Alright guys, welcome back. We have some new leaks here and these are very cool leaks. I'm very hyped. I've been waiting for this for a long time. A lot of you people have also. You might also have seen it in the thumbnail already. We are getting finally the Fire King support come the next pack. And there's also another really cool thing about us getting the Fire King support, but more to that in a moment. I will show you what this does to basically the meta. It's a bit sad in the sense that we are having a Snake Eyes for a long time now, and the strongest version will be a combination of Fire King and Snake Eye, but you can also play a pure Fire King version, and I really love these cards because I think their artwork is so cool. So we will get the new cards, the Fire King High Avatar Kirin, we will get Garunix Eternity, Highing of the Fire Kings. Hopefully this new Garunix will get the animation, not the XYZ boss monster. I guess this will get the animation, but this you will summon a lot, as I will show you in a moment here. We will get the Spell and Trap Negate. We already have the Monster Negate, which is normally what you are playing, the Avatar, and then we get the Rangbali. We will get the Fire King Ponix here, which is the level 1 starter. This is what binds it all together. This is what binds the Snake Eyes engine together with the Fire King engine. I will show you this in a moment. We get the Sanctuary, which is able to protect and search the field spell, the Fire King Island. And then we will also get a Skyburn, which is you target Fire King monsters on your side of the field, and you can destroy as many cards on your opponent's side of the field as you have targeted on your side. And Fire King, it's all about destroying your own monsters to trigger more effects. We will also get this one, but this one is never played. But the really cool thing is that we will also get Fire King Consort Ulcanorix or Ulcanix, which is a card that is not yet out in the TCG. This is a completely new card, which is quite nice. This interacts with the old Fire King High Avatar Garunix. So we have the new one here, the Sacred Fire King Garunix, and then the old one. This can summon the old one basically for free, which means it summons an extra body. This is a new starter that you will be able to use, because if this card is normal or special summoned, you can destroy one other fire monster in your hand or face-up field. A lot of the cards have this effect, but I will explain this to you in a moment when I show you the base combo. And if you do add one Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand. So you have to understand that all of these are basically Beast Warrior, Winged Beast, or Beast monsters that you can then add to your hand. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Fire King High Avatar Garunix, the old one from the deck. And as I already said, this is all about destroying your own cards to gain advantage here. As you can see, we already have some Fire King cards. You will, if you want to play this new version with the Ulcanix, need one of the Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Funnily enough, I pulled this out of a pack and then kept it, didn't decraft it, because I was like, okay, maybe not in the beginning, but then when we get the Ulcanix, we will be able to use this guy, but we will get the full support Fire King, which is quite nice. This could then be the strongest deck in the game, because this was also the strongest deck in the OCG. This was more popular than Pure Snake Eye in the OCG, and in the TCG, Pure Snake Eye is and was way more popular. So remains to be seen what deck will be stronger with us here. But if we get some Snake Eye hits, then I think definitely this version will be stronger, because then you can play a higher or a bigger Fire King engine, especially with the old Carnix, and this works then. We will go over the decks, what they do in the meta here, in the OCG meta. This is what we can take a look at in a moment here, but let me first show you what this wants to do here. So I will show you what this wants to do in cooperation with the Snake Eye stuff, obviously, and this is cool about getting the Ulcanix. Getting the Ulcanix means that you can also play a pure Fire King deck, which is definitely something that a lot of people will want to do, because they don't want to play Snake Eyes. Obviously, the Snake Eyes version will be the better version, but this deck is really cool. This plays amazing. You destroy your own cards to get advantage. This is really fun. I think the artwork of the cards are amazing. Please give Garunix the animation. You resummon Garunix all the time. Garunix is the core piece of the deck, but I will explain to you what the basic combo wants to achieve in the Snake Eye deck. And then obviously in the pure deck, it will be a bit more, but we will go over that obviously when the deck comes out then. So let's say we are starting with a Diabellstar Black Witch and one card to discard here. We are going to special summon Black Witch, discard the Flamberge Dragon, and set the original Sympho Spoiled Snake Eye. You know it. We're going to set this, and then also going to activate this, tributing away the Diabellstar to summon the Snake Eye Ash. You know the card. This can search a level 1 fire monster. We're going to activate this, and now we are not going to search our Poplar, but we are going to search our Fire King Ponix here, because this is also a level 1 fire monster, and we have still the normal summon, because Diabellstar was special and Ash was special. We are then going to normal summon the Ponix and activate its effect. It says, if your monsters that was originally fire, this one comes up with the new cards a lot, is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. So this can also be a free extender if we destroy our own fire monsters, which we will do in the Fire King deck. And then if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Fire King spell trap from your deck to your hand. And during the next standby phase, after this card was destroyed and sent to the graveyard, add this card from the graveyard to your hand. So this is also resources that we will get back. You are playing one Ponix in the Snake Eye version. We are going to grab the Fire King Sanctuary and then also activate it. You might also be able to only play the field spell. You don't need this in between step basically, but this is also a new card. When this card is activated, you can place one Fire King Island from your deck up in your field zone. We are going to make this happen right now, but I will also explain to you what this also is doing. Then once per turn, if a card in your field zone would be destroyed by card effect, you can destroy one fire monster in your hand or face up field instead. This is something that is here for a lot of Fire King cards. They can always destroy cards in your hand or in on your field basically. The Garunix, the new card here, can also destroy cards in your deck, but I will show you what this means here in a second, which is quite nice. You can protect the Fire King Island from destruction once, which is quite important because if this face up card in the field zone is sent to the graveyard or banished, destroy all monsters you control. This might seem very bad, but it's not that bad because your Fire King monsters will trigger when fire monsters get destroyed. So there is definitely, it's not a coincidence that the effect is here on the field spell. And then you can also use one of the following effects. You will mainly use the first one. Sometimes you can use the second one, but the first one says during your main phase you can destroy one monster in your hand or field. So once again, the destroy part does not need to be a fire monster here in this case. And if you do, add one Fire King monster from your deck to your hand, which is what we are going to do next year. This is not optimal play, but I just wanted to show you how this engine in Snake Eyes will work. We activate the Fire King Island, destroying the Ponix, and keep in mind that Ponix now will come back to us in the next standby phase, but not if we resummon the Ponix and then get him to the graveyard via a Link Summon, for example, which will happen, but just keep in mind, if it would stay in the graveyard now, we would get it back next standby phase. We are going to search the new monster, the monster that ties it all together, the Sacred Fire King Garunix, which I have him in the background here. I have a poster of him. I love the card. He's on my PC background. I just think this card is so amazing when it comes to artwork. If your monsters that was originally fire is destroyed by battle or card effect, same as with the Ponix here, same line basically, you can special summon this card from your graveyard if it was there when the monster was destroyed, or hand even if not, which means because we have destroyed an original fire monster, the legendary Fire King Ponix, we are now able to special summon the Garunix from the hand. Keep in mind here, a little note, that you, because of an old ruling, the green baboon ruling, you are not able to summon both of them. Obviously both of them could summon from the hand if an original fire monster gets destroyed. So let's imagine we have the Fire King Ponix in the hand and then also the Garunix. Us destroying our Ash here, which is the fire monster, will not trigger the both of the effects, or it will trigger both of the effects, but we can only special summon one. This is an old ruling, which obviously makes it a bit worse, but you always want to summon the Garunix if you can. And then if this card is normal or special summon, so you have to understand that, and I will show you this. I guess me showing you will make it more clear, so let me just show you. If this card is normal or special summon, you can destroy one Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster. Keep in mind, all of them basically are, all of the Fire King cards are something like this. This can also be incorporated, and it was at the beginning in the TCG with the Tri-Brigade stuff, because the Tri-Brigade deck obviously also evolves around all these types here. So you can destroy one Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster in your hand, deck, or face or field, except this one. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the destroyed monster's attack it had there until the end of this turn, which this can be quite nice. It says 2-7 already. You can pump this up to 3-9, which is actually quite nice in finishing your opponent. And then you can only use this once per turn. So we will see what this does in a moment here. As I already said, we have a trigger effect here because we have destroyed an original fire monster. We can now trigger Garunix from the hand and summon it. Then we can trigger Garunix on the field and destroy one of our Fire King monsters from the deck. There are two options here, and I'll show you the other one in a moment, but one of the other new cards we have is Fire King High Avatar Kirin, which is funny because there's already a Kirin here, the Fire King Avatar Kirin, but now we have the Fire King High Avatar Kirin, which is definitely the most broken card with the new Fire King support, I would personally say. Let's read the guy. During the main phase, if this card is in your hand, quick effect, you can destroy one other Fire fire monster, so in your hand or face a field, and if you do, special summon this card. This will be quite nice, which is one of the reasons why here in the OCG, for example, you can see the the Kirin is at 2, because Kirin is actually quite strong. In the TCG, it turned out that a lot of people were already playing this at 2, not at 3, but you can also play it at 3, because what you can do is, if, for example, you have your Snake Eye Ash on the field and your Fire King High Avatar Kirin in your hand, if you play your Snake Eye Ash and your opponent wants to infinite impermanence your Snake Eye Ash or effect value your Snake Eye Ash, then you could chain your Kirin, destroy the Ash, and then the effect would still go through and you would get the Kirin body on the field for free, which is quite nice. But what we are destroying this guy for is his second effect, because it says, where is it? You can destroy one other... if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, which is what just happened here with the Fire King Garunix, you can special summon one Fire King monster from your hand or graveyard except this one, and then you can destroy one card on the field. This is non-targeting, so you can just non-targeting destroy one of your opponent's cards. We, in this case, are going to resummon, because this is the only guy we have, the Ponix from the graveyard, which this is what I talked about. Now, if we get it back to the graveyard, we will not get it back on our next stand phase, because it was not destroyed. We summoned it back, right? And now this is, as I already said, not optimal, but just to show you what this wants to do, we are going to make an IP Masquerena here, because I want to show you what happens on our opponent's turn. Then we are going to make a Promethean Princess, because we need this fire destruction effect to show you what the Fire King Snake Eye deck wants to do on the opponent's turn. We are going to resummon the Ash and then just make an Emblo Whale. You know the play from Snake Eyes. So let's imagine we are now in our opponent's turn, and let's imagine our opponent special summons a monster. We are now going to trigger our Promethean Princess, and obviously Promethean Princess wants to destroy an opponent's monster and our own Emblo Whale. So she comes back, and now the Emblo Whale gets destroyed. And because an original fire monster was destroyed, we can now trigger our Garunix from the graveyard, because remember, Garunix can be triggered from the graveyard or from the hand. So we are going to trigger the Garunix here, and now Garunix will special summon back to the field. And now we can once again use the second effect of Garunix. If this card is normal or special summon, we can destroy one card from the deck. And what you can do here now is destroy another Kirin, and now we can also activate Kirin's effect to resummon one of our Fire Kings and then destroy one card on our opponent's field, non-targeting. So this is what you want to do with this Garunix Kirin stuff in the Fire King deck. This is one interaction that you want to get into your graveyard, so you have this Kirin pop here. But what you want to achieve in an optimal world would be to not summon the Fire King Ponix here, but to summon another card that you will play in the version, the Fire King Avatar Arvata that we already have. It says, when a monster effect is activated while this monster is on the field, so also a monster effect in the hand, quick effect. You can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy one other fire monster in your hand or face up field. So this is the monster negate. I have already talked about the fact that we will also get this spell and trap negate, but people value the Avatar more also because the Avatar has a very nice second effect, which says, if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster in the graveyard except Fire King Avatar Avatar, special summon it, but negates its effect also destroyed during the end phase. Which is cool because you can resummon the Fire King High Avatar Kirin, and then if Kirin gets destroyed during the end phase, even if the effect is negated on the field because of the Avatar, it will still trigger in the graveyard to destroy another card if it has not triggered already in the turn, that is. So this is what you want to optimally achieve with this little engine that you splash into the Snake Eye deck. You want to get the Garunix back on the field, you want to get the Avatar back on the field to have a monster negate, and also have the Kirin to have a non-targeting pop, but also to get bodies on your field. And another cool thing that you can now do, which you can't really do in the pure Snake Eye deck, is, as you have already read here, when a monster effect is activated while this monster is on the field, quick effect, you can negate the effect activation, and if you do, destroy one other fire monster in your hand or face up field. So what we could do now, if for example we still had an IP Masquerena in our spell and trap zone here, which is like a standard play in Snake Eyes, we could destroy our own Promethean Princess so that we can once again summon monsters besides fire monsters. So in this engine here, we have an opportunity to get back or to get rid of our princess, which sometimes can fire lock you in very bad positions. So this is what you want to do or want to achieve with this engine in this deck. What you can also do, by the way, quick little thing here, you don't play it like this, but you can if you want to, and you will definitely do this in the pure version. This card also says, in addition, once per turn, if your opponent special summons a monster, you can, immediately after this effect resolves, XYZ summon one Fire King XYZ monster using only Fire King monsters you control. What you want to do, if you want to activate it like this, you want to get an Avatar Kirin in your hand, summon the Kirin besides your Garunix, and then you have 2 level 8 bodies. And 2 level 8 bodies can make the boss monster, which isn't really the boss monster, because the real boss monster is Garunix, but Garunix Eternity. So you are able, if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, if you have this Fire King Sanctuary on the field and the Garunix Eternity in the extra deck, you are able to summon this guy, and this says, if this card is XYZ summoned, you can destroy all other monsters on the field, which is obviously quite strong. You can also detach raw material from this card, then target one spell trap on the field, destroy it, and if you do, this card gains 500. This is not a quick effect, but the other one can clear the entire field. And then, if this card is destroyed while it has material, and remember, you can destroy your own Fire King cards quite easily, so for example, just by using the Avatar. Also, the spell trap negate, if it wants to negate a spell or trap, also has to destroy a fire monster. So there are a lot of opportunities to destroy your own monsters here. If you destroy this guy, you can then special summon Fire King monsters from your graveyard up to the number of materials this card has. And obviously this card kills the entire field, but if you have your Fire King monsters on the field, then these effects will obviously trigger. So for example, if you destroy your monster negate with your Fire King boss monster, then this will summon back, for example, a Kirin to the field, which the Kirin in the end phase will then be destroyed to once again special summon maybe the monster negate back or the spell trap negate and also destroy something here. So this destruction thing is really the bread and butter, you could say, of this deck. And we can also, as I already talked about, take a look at what is happening with this deck in the OCG. It's still one of the most played decks. This was, Tempai was at the top here, but then Fire King was still the second one. Fire King is definitely the Snake Eyes variant that dominates the OCG or has dominated the OCG for a long time now. And you can see we are playing the old Garunix. We are playing one of the Garunix here. You don't need more than one. We are playing one Ponix to get from our Snake Eye engine into the Fire King engine. They are also playing this destruction card, which you can. This is nice because then Ponix can search either the field spell line here or the destruction card. We are playing 2 Ulcanix, which I will show you obviously the new combo lands that the Ulcanix makes possible in the future. Obviously we are going to put it in here. So the Fire King engine has become bigger. Before you would only play the Garunix, then Kirin and the Avatar and the Ponix, and then field spell plus the Sanctuary. And they are playing actually the XYZ in the extra deck. A lot of people do not do it like this, but obviously you can if you want to. The destruction is quite nice. So yeah, this is how it's played in the OCG, but we also had this pure version that came up 1 week where we are playing triple Garunix, triple Ulcanix. We are playing the spell trap negate. We are also playing Barong, which is also an old card, but a very, very cool one. If you destroy Barong, for example, you are able to get a Fire King monster to your hand during the next standby phase. And if you have your negates in the hand, for example, the Rangbali or the Avatar, then you can also summon them on your opponent's turn, because High Avatar Kirin says that you can summon a Fire King monster from the graveyard or the hand. So if you have one of the negates in the hand and you destroy your Kirin, then you can also, for example, summon your monster negate or your spell trap negate to the field if you have it in your hand or graveyard and destroy one card non-targeting. So we also had this variant. They're also playing Kaiser Colosseum here. With these two here, with the old Garunix and the new Garunix, you also have access, because both of them are rank 8, to make some of the rank 8s here, which is quite nice. But one thing to keep in mind is that you definitely want to get your Garunix into the graveyard, because I have shown you this graveyard interaction. You want to get it back on the field so it can once again destroy a Kirin to make all of these plays happen, or destroy an Avatar, which would also work, right? So you don't really want to have this guy attached on an XYZ and keep it there. You want to get it to the graveyard. So the Garunix, same as with the Promethean Princess, both of these are cards that you want to have in your graveyard, because they are interruptions in the graveyard, which is what makes this deck so strong. You have interruptions on your field, but then also interruptions in your graveyard, more than has the pure Snake Eye deck. So remains to be seen which will be the better version. If we see some more Snake Eye hits, which I think we will, then I think that the Snake Eyes Fire King version will be better than the pure version. You will also be able to play a pure Fire King version, which will also be very, very fun, very cool. Might look kind of like this. I will also play this because I just love the Fire King cards to death. I think they are so amazing. But yeah, this is all for now. I could talk about this deck way longer. I love it. I'm so hyped. finally, now I'm really hyped for the next pack. I wasn't until this point, but now I am. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Fire, or what do you think of the Fire King stuff. Are you excited, or are you maybe a bit scared of having more Snail Guy stuff running around? But you can, as I already said, also play the pure version with these cards that, artwork-wise, these are some of the most amazing cards I have ever seen, in my opinion, at least. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for being here. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell. We will see each other in the next one.